I wanted to share a few thoughts about what it takes when you start this journey and how you forget things along the way. I just had a conversation with my friend and partner and brother, Lycus, inside of the Legacy Forge, and we talked about the burden of knowledge. Actually, we talked about the curse of knowledge and the burden of experience, which became the burden of knowledge. Excuse my plague. We talked about how it is to forget things that you learn. When you start off on something in the beginning, you will learn something that is going to stretch your neurons, and then all of a sudden, when you get proficient in that and you expand yourself beyond what you started to learn in the beginning, you're going to forget about the things that you learned when you started. Like you can't go back right now to a point in the beginning of something that you are just doing naturally now and remember how it was to not know what you do now. Does that make sense? You've added so many new experiences and insights and perspectives, and you have embodied something to such a degree where all the levels that led to that place where you're at right now, many of them is going to fade away because it's not useful, right? So you can't remember often the things that made you really grow into what you know today. So I wanted to just add a few principles that I got to remember because of this conversation. If you want to see or hear the conversation in its entirety, you need to be inside of the community, and then we're going to start to put out these in-depth conversations and master classes because they are going into such deep and constructive and thought through topics in terms of development and a bunch of different techniques and methods that we use in how we go about life. And this could be trauma release, this could be body, how you take care of your body, mind, and soul, and this can be so many things, and skills, not to mention. So with that in mind, and also talking about the mind, there are a few things that I learned early on that really helped me. I have a few videos on this as well on the earlier channels, and I really didn't go more into it. But there was something that I learned called FAST. Whenever I'm going to learn something new, it's the FAST method. This came from Jim Kwik at the time, and I believe that he has also rehashed many of the techniques based on psychology and neurology as a whole, because oftentimes people just rebrand something and make it seem like it is a new thing when it's in actuality just a part of something that has always been known and is by nature a lot easier. But regardless, FAST is an acronym, and it helped me a lot. It stands for forget, active, teach. Forget, active, state, and teach. So when you go into anything new, try to forget everything that you know, so that you don't go in there assuming that you know everything that you need to know, and you skip parts. You don't do the things because you assume you know. Especially if this is a study context, because if you don't have the experience, there's no use in it. Like if you don't have the experience of the actual thing that you're using practically, be that as a mindset, be that how you think, how you focus on thoughts and positivity, or gratitude, or goals and visions, whatever you focus on, you will get more of. Energy attracts more of the same, as above, so below, as within, so without. There are many ways to say this. But where your focus goes, it starts there. So if you go in and you forget all that you think you know, it's going to be a lot easier to take in more information, those missing puzzle pieces that you don't have, and then implement those. Implement being one of those keywords. A is for active. So ask questions. Take a step. Take notes. Raise your voice. Actually go into the topic or the question or the whatever it is with a genuine curiosity. Like, ask. Be active. It's such a huge thing. We talked about this as the fourth point of a system in terms of development. So do you believe that this is valuable? Do you believe in this, the thing? whatever the case may be of what the thing is. Do you find value in it? And then, are you proficient in it? Or actually, step 3 is, are you so confident in what you do that you would want to do something about it? That you actually walk the talk? And then 4, do you want to do that? Or if you're not confident in it, do you want the experience of testing it out to get experience? All of it revolving around the whole implementation of any set new knowledge or whatever have you. And then in the acronym of FAST, we go to S, which is state. To be in a state, mind state, a place where you want to learn. Like, why? Why are you learning it? Be in a place where you are like optimized for learning it. For instance, if I was going to go in to learn and I go into a workshop that was only equipped to do that one thing that I had to learn how to do, instead of being just losing my focus all over the place, being disrupted or caught off. I'm looking for one specific word that I just can't find, which is probably the case of this whole thing, is the point, right? But to go in there and just be in the state of, now I'm going to do this. And then when you are doing it, the final letter of FAST, T, teach. When you're teaching it, you're learning it twice. So you're just furthering the embodiment. You're making it easier for you to learn because you're now learning it twice from a different perspective. It's like when Einstein said, if you can't teach it to a 6-year-old, you don't really understand it. Because there are so many differences in terms of reading something from a book and explaining something based on knowledge, memory, insights, and experience that happened when you did the thing, applied the lesson. So I guess that's all I wanted to share in this, because I don't want to make these videos too long. But getting into this early on and just realizing that these tools, these small techniques, are freaking huge in the long run. Because it might sound like FAST is not as valuable as it should be. Especially if you're watching this video now and that video is free and you're getting free advice, then you don't have that much investment in using that advice, because it's just information, and there's information all over the place. It's information overload these days. This is where it's so interesting in terms of how people can become millionaires, because they write a book that could be a PDF, could be a free thing, but they write down the things and they give it out to people. And then people want to see if they can learn more based on what they have seen in the book. And so they come and ask if you can teach me more personally. And they will do the same thing. They will simply sit there with you and charge a higher price by going by the book, literally. Just extrapolating or getting more in detail about the things of the book. But it's the same thing. It is the same content. It's the same information. It is the same lesson. It's the same skill. It's the same experience. Like whatever it is. So to go into the importance of just taking these pieces of advice and applying it to life, really how important and how transformational that can be. It goes beyond what I can communicate. Because for me, it all started with FAST, and it changed my neurology. It has changed my entire reality and worldview, because I view it through different lenses, and I really don't think about it. That's the problem, right? The curse of knowledge. You don't remember those things that got you into that whole habit of thinking like this. But there are so many tools, so many methods, systematic thinking, input and output, testing, trying out and getting the feedback, and then just building upon that. One brick at a time, and all of a sudden you have a foundation, and all of a sudden you have more than a foundation. All of a sudden you realize that there's a fucking castle or a forge right there. I'm not going to drag it out. Have a magical, fantastic, epic evening, you. Take care of your freaking family, and I will see you in the next one. If you want to know more about this,